Cup of tea. Oh.
Hi, I'm John Dines, and this is Ade and John, the brains behind Orange Amps. It's a Friday, we're at the Orange HQ, and we're about to raid the prototype shelf.
And we've got a nice cup of tea on the go there. Yeah.
So, before we go through these and have a listen and pick which ones we like, just tell us a bit, what are these? What are we looking at here?
These are prototypes that eventually pretty much all of these became production amplifiers that we've sold over the years, you know. So this is how they start their life. You know, they basically I get an idea for the circuit in the canister, and then I have to bend some metal, get some drills out, get some files out, and make the thing, you know, without a printed circuit board, because I haven't got a printed circuit board, you know. It's an idea, and you know, and then wire it up and see if it does what I want it to do. And these are the test beds really for that. A lot of Pyrex on the shelf there, because pretty much all of these are valve amps.
So when you say there's no printed circuit board, do you mean you have to build all of these by hand, right? They're all hand-wired point-to-point amps?
Yeah, if you see that, there's a tag board. I call these Voyager boards, because the spaceship Voyager that sent a load of nice pictures back to us, it was built on these, you know. It's just hand-wired, and sometimes using a tag strip or a tag board to hold the components in place, you know.
So these are going to sound similar but different to the amps that they became, I suppose.
I always aim to get the printed circuit board version to sound as good as these. You know, that's the task. That's why we use 2 ounce copper and stuff like that, because, you know, this is a good place to start, because you're starting it as a boutique amp effectively, and then you got to try and get a printed circuit board version of that amp to sound as good.
Well, if that sounds even better than the production model, I'm pretty excited to fire it up to the demo room. So, Ade, you've picked the OR50 prototype. Tell me a bit about this amp.
Yeah, well, people were asking for reissue. So the problem with a reissue is everyone will always say the original is best, and there won't really be an exception to that, because they'll say it because they can, and that's just the nature of the beast. And also, you can't legally make stuff exactly how you did in the early 70s or the 60s, you know. So, you know, because of approvals and stuff, and if you change anything, you're going to get destroyed in the press.
So it's something you can only ever get wrong?
Yeah, so you set yourself up for an instant fail when you do that. So I thought I'll put new takes on some vintage flavoured electronics, and just try and get something that's got a lot of character, but that's not, it's a take on an old design rather than an actual direct reissue.
So it's kind of best of 70s Orange?
Yeah, it's kind of that vibe, yeah, but make it really functional as well, because you got this flying saucer on the side there. It's sort of like, you know, about to land on the, you know, whatever. You can turn this down a bit, and you can foot switch it so it's flat out. So there's your lead boost without having another channel.
Oh, so it's like a master volume defeat?
Kind of, but it's right at the end of the amp, and this control doubles up as, from here downwards, it's a cross line, almost like a top cut type circuit.
Okay.
But another gang of the pot, from here upwards, you go into the white area there, that's negative feedback, and it's really fierce.
Okay, where have you got that set at the moment?
Probably on the second white one, second to last white one.
So it's fairly gnarly then?
It's got a nice bite to it then, you know, that you get with a lot of vintage amps. If you turn that control up, you get that kind of, I call it splamp, you know. There's a 3-position switch named mellow, angry and pissed off. And mellow is the second cathode bypass lifted.
Right.
So it's less gain. And it's anode following from the tone stack. Angry is that second cathode bypassed so that you got a bit more gain, but it's still anode following. And pissed off is that bypassed with a cathode follower. So it drives the output stage and phase inverter at a lower impedance. Yeah. So it just tears into the output stage a little more fiercely.
And what's it set to now?
That's set to pissed off.
I thought it sounded like it.
Which is what the production model ended up being left at. I didn't put the switch on. And there's also a Class AB on this prototype. Which is lucky because I'd got it switched to 30 watts Class A, which matches nicely with that. So
that's a bit like the Custom Shop 50.
Exactly that. Exactly the same. Same parts and everything there.
So this kind of became 2 amps then?
Well, no, this was built alongside the Custom Shop. I was doing AD 50s and retro 50s at the time. So yeah, that was really the inspiration. And the plexiglass, this has got the plexi on the front there, which a lot of the old ones used to crack around the handles. So I actually managed to get that recessed so that the bar clears, you can just see it, like the little lip there, which is great because they don't crack, you know.
So you really have kind of taken all of the features of the Sentis amp and then improved them. That's quite nice. Well,
and the same with the pots there. You can see they go back to the chassis, and there's like a recess, and it's enough to get the socket that I used on these, so you can fasten them up nice.
Yeah.
I mean, this had to be used for a show, hence it's got a front panel, you know.
Okay.
It's not a lot. It's probably the only prototype I've done that's got a front panel for that reason, because we had to. I think we launched it and used this to launch it.
Well, it obviously worked because the OR50 went down well.
Well, it's funny we did, because it was a 40th, as you can see, it says 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
Which was 10 years ago now. So we did a limited run. We ran them for just that year with the Plexi. And we sold them. They weren't a massive seller. We sold them all. But then as soon as we discontinued it, as soon as that year came to the 41st year, then suddenly people started asking for them.
And that's where the production one came in.
And then we did that with a metal panel to distinguish the original run with the thing, and obviously we took the 40th anniversary off and just called it the OR50.
Well, I've got it says here on the tag, TH30 prototype. And I always liked the TH30 production model, so I thought I'd better fire this up. The clean channel's just fantastic. I haven't even got round to trying the overdrive yet, because I've just been too busy cranking this up. But it says Thunder 30 on the top. What's the story there?
Well, originally it was going to be called that, because it's going to be like a baby, because it's got the lead channel's got the shape.
Right, like the Thunderbird.
And so it was meant to be like a baby nod to the Thunderbird. So it was going to be the Thunder 30. And then there was a company that made car stereos that were using the name. Yeah. And not 30, but the Thunder. So obviously there's a domain problem there. So I changed it to TH because of that, because we didn't want to infringe on anyone. So. But yeah, that one's totally point to point as well. You know, this one's tag board, Voyager boards, what they used to be using in the space shuttle. This one was built on tag strip, so it's literally point to point, like a match list would be built or something. You know.
So literally each component connects to the next component. No frame to hold any of it together, really. It's just.
Well, there is the tag strip, is the frame, but you do get a different sound when you do that because a lot of the actual tracks would be actual legs of the components, which are solid core. So it's effectively, there's a lot more solid core wire in the signal path. So
Okay.
that makes with solid core wire, the treble is a bit purer because it travels along the surface, the high frequencies. So if it's solid core, it's got a different sound to what it would have if it was multi-core or a flat PCB track, so that's got a very kind of distinctive. That's probably why he likes the clean channel, because it's got a really distinctive.
It's just quite natural.
Yeah, kind of chime to it.
It's just, the way I describe it, it's exactly what the TH30 does, but just a little more of it.
Yeah.
It's not a night and day thing, so you're not really.
The transformers are, because they were dual terror transformers, which are the same in a dual terror as they are in a TH30, the same transformers. So obviously we already had the dual terror when I did this one, so that's obviously set. The transformers are as they would be in a production one.
Oh, so in that respect, it is actually closer to the one that you could go out and buy.
Apart from the point-to-pointness of it,
yeah,
that's the only difference. The circuit and the tube lineup and the caps. Obviously, the capacitors make a big difference to the sound. I used to buy F&Ts for prototyping because they're the best, and I just can't be bothered to waste time using something that isn't good, because you'll get a false representation of what the amp's going to sound like, so, and you don't want something to be problematic, so I just use good components when I build prototypes, because otherwise if something fails through no fault of the circuit, then you could be going around in circles, wasting time fixing something that's down to a dodgy component, so. But the caps change the sound a lot. That's all actual mustard caps in the signal path, which are good. They hold back a lot of voltage and they got a certain sound. And the electrolytics are the F&Ts, which are the best that I've found. So, I build this stuff out of whatever I've got lying around normally, but I try not to have shit components lying around.
Well, I always liked the TH30, and this is just kind of a TH30 and then some. Should we drag a couple more amps in and
let's
check some other stuff out?
Check out some other stuff.